It's Monday, March 17th, 2025, and this is episode 331 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, tell us all about Mystic Lake Casino.
Yeah, so my daughter, who was home just for the weekend, and her friend and I went up to Rochester for something, and we thought, hey, we're pretty close here, so let's try out that Mystic Lake Casino.
And you'd never been there before, right?
No, because they're not 21 yet, but I checked and they allow, 18-year-olds in there.
Yeah.
So, okay. We headed up there, and on the way, I called our friend Todd. He met us there for, not very long, maybe a half hour. He had other stuff to do that day, but he lives close enough that it was a, quick drive over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was quite impressed. Mark, it's huge.
Uh-huh.
It's really, really big. Rivals the size of a lot of casinos in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of slots. They have bubble type craps. And they do have a roll-to-win craps table.
Oh, interesting. They've got roll to win, but not a regular craps table.
No regular craps table.
Okay.
And I was talking to one of the pit bosses and asking, well, what's the deal with having regular craps? He said that it was in the state legislature this year, along with sports gambling, to have regular craps and roulette. But he didn't know if it was going to pass. He said, oh, who knows?
But roll to win, they were able to get away with, at least for now.
Well, yeah, because you're at a terminal, right?
Yeah. Okay. And this is Minnesota?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. They had a bunch of video roulette machines. They had a section for stadium gambling.
What about just table games, card games?
Oh, now table game, card games, tons.
Okay.
And all 3-2 that I could see, blackjack.
All the blackjack. Okay. And
we were playing at a $15 table, me and the girls and Todd.
Okay.
$15 blackjack table, 3-2.
Yeah.
Bunch of side bets.
Okay.
A lot of $25 tables, but they did have 15, and we saw a $10 table too. It was kind of full for the four of us to sit on, but there were a couple open seats if you wanted to play that. They had Mississippi Stud and a bunch of the Texas Hold'em variants, and a lot of variety of games, which Todd said the last time he was there, which was a while ago, they did not have that much variety, and it was just blackjack and slot machines, and so that's why he hadn't been back in a while, and now they've got all this other stuff. So
okay. And how far is it from where you live? Well,
for me, it's about 2.5 hours, maybe 2:40.
Okay.
It's up by Minneapolis, St. Paul, but it's west of there.
Okay, so it would still be faster for you to drive to Diamond Joe Work, or closer, I should say. Yeah.
Or, Worth, or even Waterloo.
Yeah.
Because those are a little less or a little more than 2 hours. So this is about an extra 40 minutes. But we found a great taco place.
Really?
In Rochester. Yeah. Mark, just like San Diego.
Wow, there you go.
Open 24 hours.
Come on.
Has flying saucers. I mean, everything. Rolled tacos. And I was like, okay, well, let's see. Because I really haven't found a San Diego type taco stand.
Right.
But this place, I ordered the rolled tacos, 5 rolled tacos, guacamole, cheese. Excellent.
Oh, good.
Too bad it's in Rochester.
Yeah.
But it is open 24/7. So every time I go to the airport from now on, we pass right by it. That's where I'm going.
Even if it's some ungodly hour. Great. You got a name?
Rollberto's.
Rollberto's.
Yeah, and it was pretty authentic. What we're used to from San Diego.
Yeah, taco shop fare.
Taco shop,
Yeah.
That was the big exciting news. But no, that casino was really nice. It was packed too, Mark. We were there on a Saturday. I'd say we got there about 2-ish or something like that. We only stayed for 3.5, 4 hours. Big, huge bingo parlor, lots of restaurants and food items.
Did you eat there at all?
No. We had eaten on the way there. And so none of us were really that hungry.
How'd you do?
We didn't play that much, and I ended up losing like $100,
Okay.
but both girls won.
Okay, good.
I didn't play any slots. They did. And my daughter, Grace, she won both times she played slots. One time, like almost $200, and the other time was like a $65 win or something.
Okay, great.
And they played some blackjack. And I should say I lost 100 because I lost, but I had given them 100. So,
yeah,
no.
I figured.
Yeah, supporting
Good
their
for
habit.
you. Yeah.
They were okay with it. It was funny because both of them were, worried about losing their $15 bet.
Yeah, sure.
And stuff like that. And so it wasn't like they were addicted to it right away. Like, oh, this is so much fun.
Not really their thing.
Yeah, probably not their thing. But it was good to hear them experience it. So. Oh, and while we were there, Todd told me the racetrack is very close, like 10-minute drive away.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, this has changed a lot since I was last here. You might as well stay here. Otherwise, I would have told you to go to the racetrack because they had more variety of games.
I see. Yeah.
And stuff there. But he said, no reason to go there now. And it's if you're 18 or above.
Okay.
Not 21.
Yeah.
And he said the racetrack, he said, was kind of beat up. And I told the girls, I said, well, maybe on the way home, we'll just stop there real quick, check it out. Well, when that time came, we were ready to get home.
Big drive in front of you, yeah.
Yeah, and they had to stop by the front door and take a picture of themselves holding up a bunch of hundreds.
Yeah.
So they could have that for their memory of how much they won, which they didn't win. They wanted me to use my hundreds to come out.
Yeah, my teenage girls don't take pictures for memories, okay? They're posting it.
They're posting
All
it.
right?
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't post a lot, Mark.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Uh-huh.
But I know at school they sure do.
Uh-huh.
All during science class, texting and me yelling at them, and they think I'm old and stupid, which, one of those is right.
Yeah, which one?
But that's for the beholder to decide.
Yeah.
But they try and hide it from me. I always catch them. We've seen all the tricks. We're old enough.
Yeah. Well, good. It sounds like you had a good time. Good.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah.
I'll probably go up there again if I happen to be in that area.
Sure.
Like if I had to go pick one of the girls up in Minneapolis, I might, actually go a few hours earlier and stop by, just to check it out. And very friendly staff was great.
Good.
This blackjack dealer we had, she was great. And there was a guy who replaced her. He was great. So.
All right. Mystic Lake Casino. Excellent.
Yep.
Well, Dr. Mike, you want to learn a new game?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do on a Saturday afternoon.
All right.
The NCAA basketball tournament.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't think the Aztecs are playing, though, are they?
They are not.
Okay. All right. So don't worry about it. All right. So at Rio in Las Vegas, of course, Penn and Teller have been performing there for years. They now have a table game out on the floor called Penn and Teller Casino Monte. All right. And here's how it works. So
you never win. It's all rigged.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you win the first few so that you're hooked, and then you lose the rest of the time. Those are all the rules.
I know what Monte
All right.
means.
Let's move on to voicemail. So here's how it goes. All right. At the beginning of the game, as a player, you can wager in one of three betting spots.
Okay.
The P spot, which stands for Penn. The ampersand spot, it stands for and, or the T spot that stands for teller. So Penn and Teller. You can bet in any one of those spots.
Okay.
And three cards are going to be dealt out, one for each spot. And your wager, your bet is basically that the spot you have chosen will have the highest card, aces being high. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. So that's what you do when the game starts. Once everybody's made their wager, the dealer rolls a single die inside of a dice cup, right? Kind of like a pie gut, but there's just one die in it, right?
Okay. Six-sided die?
Six-sided die, regular die, yeah.
Okay.
So if the die shows a 1 or a 2, the dealer turns up the card in the P location, the Penn location.
Okay.
If the die shows a 3 or 4, he'll turn up the card at the ampersand position.
All right.
And if it's a 5 or 6, then he'll turn up the T, the teller card. Okay. So the idea being that after you've made your bet, the dealer's going to reveal one of the cards. Might be the spot you've bet on, maybe not. But you'll have a little more information.
And then what does the dealer do?
So that's
He
it.
just randomly does that?
He shakes the die.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Right? That determines what card is flipped over.
I gotcha. Okay.
All right. At that point, as a player, you have the option of just not doing anything more, or you can make a raise bet from 1 to 3 times your initial wager.
So saying that your card is going to be higher than any of those 3 up there.
Right. That's your bet. So, obviously, if you have bet in the P spot and it turns out the P card is the one that is turned over,
right,
and it's an ace, well, then, of course, you're going to make a triple raise because you can't lose, right? Ace is the highest card.
Okay, ace is only low?
Ace is only high.
Oh, you mean if you have an ace?
Yes.
I thought you meant if they turned over the P spot and there was an ace there.
And you bet on P.
Yeah.
Then you've got the highest card of the 3.
I gotcha. So you're betting on one of those cards, and you're also your card. You have a different card? I'm kind of confused here.
Okay, we'll start over. At the beginning of the game, you bet on P, ampersand, or T.
Yeah.
One of those spots.
Right.
Each of those spots gets a card face down.
In front of you or in front of the dealer?
In front of the dealer.
Okay. See, when you said that before, I thought in front of me, like I had 3 cards.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. No. This is for the whole table. Good. I'm glad you asked that.
Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah. You're betting.
I'm thinking, what am I betting?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
You're betting on the P or the ampersand or the T location. But the cards themselves are just in front of the dealer in corresponding P, ampersand, and T locations.
Yeah. Okay. I got
Okay. So now you've got it. Okay. Good. I probably didn't explain it very well.
I was just a little confused. I thought I had 3 cards.
Yeah, it didn't really.
The guy next to me had 3.
Yeah, I should have made it
and...
clear. Just 3 cards total. Okay, so again,
okay,
he'll roll the die, and depending on what the roll is, he'll flip over only one of the cards.
I got you.
So if you have bet on P, and the card in the P spot is the one that gets turned over, and it's an ace, you're going to win because that's the highest card. So you would make a triple raise.
Right.
And then, if it's a king, maybe, or let's say you're in the P spot and it turns out the ampersand spot gets turned over and that's an ace. Well, you're not going to want to increase your bet, right? Because you probably don't have the highest card.
Right.
Okay. That's as simple as it is. So if it turns out you've bet on the spot with the highest card, you get even money on your initial bet and on whatever raise you might have.
Okay.
If 2 of the cards are actually the highest, let's say an ace comes up on 2 spaces and there's like a 6th and 3rd space, both of those aces win even money on the bet and the raise.
Okay.
If all 3 cards come out and they're all the same rank, so, they're all 7s or whatever,
right,
then every hand wins. You get paid 3-1 on the initial bet and even money on the raise. So that's it.
Okay. Is this dealt out of a shoe then, 6 decks?
Oh, yes. It is dealt out of a shoe, and that's actually important for the side bet. There's a full Monte side bet, an optional side bet that you make, that the 3 cards are going to form a 3-card poker hand, which is a pair or better. And the highest payout is for 3 of a kind suited, which, of course, you can't have with a single deck, but you would have in a shoe. Right, it's all the 5 of spades or something like that.
Right.
That's the biggest payout on this full Monte bet, 100-1. And then some of the other payouts, it just increases a pair, 3 of a kind, flushes, straights, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Right. So there's only one side bet then?
Just the one side bet, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. I mean, that has all of the qualities of a good game for players. Easy to learn.
Yeah, right. And, obviously I didn't explain it very well, but you can think that if you started playing it, it's super simple, right?
Yeah, it would seem like, well, pick a spot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then decide when you see one of the cards with what you want to do, stay or increase. I mean, somebody could just sit there and never raise and just bet that one spot, right?
Yeah, if they wanted to. I mean, they'd be silly not to raise if, again, they bet on the spot of the revealed card and it was an ace. or
But,
even a
if
king,
they
maybe.
were right, you could just sit there for a
Yeah,
while
just sit there. Yeah.
and collect drinks, I
Yep.
guess.
Yep. So there you go. Only at Rio, but it
Okay.
is kind of a rare situation where the game is actually tied to real entertainers who are actually there, and can promote
Right.
it. It's not some
Right.
kind of thing like, oh, this is Tom Brady Blackjack, but
Right.
they just paid him
Right.
for his name, right? So
Right. Yeah. So, do you think this game would be something that they could market at other casinos? Like,
I would think so. Now Rio is independent. I was going to say back when it was Caesars, it could have spread,
yeah.
but I think other casinos will keep an eye on it and
Right.
figure it out. I don't know what kind of royalties Penn and Teller get, or that the fact that they perform at Rio makes it less expensive for Rio to offer the game than it would be to license it to another. I don't know, of
Yeah.
course, but it's all going to depend on how popular it is. And, we've seen games like this that seems kind of fun. It's kind of simple, but maybe
Yeah.
this is too simple, right?
Yeah.
Where people just won't be drawn to it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. But let's say you're in Vegas for something else
Mm-hmm.
and you're staying at Rio. I bet you're there for your daughter's, cheerleading competition.
All right. You're getting very specific, but okay.
You're not a gambler, but you have time in the evening. That might be something you'd be interested in playing.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to learn basic strategy or, what 5 pays on a craps table or stuff like that. It's just like, either one or I didn't.
Yeah, especially if it had low minimums.
Yeah, if it had low minimums. Now, I'm thinking they probably have high minimums because it is kind of simple.
Well, but then who would play, right? It's not like a high roller's going to walk by and, a new goofy game. I'm going to put down.
Well, I don't know, Mark. We might try it out and we might have such good luck that that's our game from now on.
All right. When do you think we'll be at Rio next? The
Monte.
both of us.
And the part I don't like about the game is the dealer has the option to, by sleight of hand, change the cards.
Yeah.
That's
I have a problem with every card game in Vegas with that, actually,
with
Dr.
that,
Mike.
yeah. I know there's a lot of sleight of hand going on.
Yeah.
I mean, how can I get a 12 every single time?
Something's going on, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, something must be going on. Yeah, the reason I mentioned cheerleading is because my daughter Grace, who's in college, she went with one of her friends because her friend's sister was in some kind of competition, cheerleading or dance or something. I can't remember. The parents were going and her friend didn't want to hang out the whole time watching her little sister. So Grace and her went along. They checked out Circus. Grace said she'll never step foot in there again.
Good for her.
It was gross and dirty. They stayed at some hotel that was connected to Mandalay Bay.
Oh, the nicer one? It used to be Delano, and now it's W.
Yeah. They stayed there. She said that was very nice.
Yeah.
And Mandalay Bay, they walked through a lot, and that was okay. The actual competition was at Orleans.
The Orleans.
So they went to the competition in a couple of the days to watch her just while she performed. And she didn't really have much good to say about the Orleans either.
Okay, well, I like
She
it,
said
but
that.
I understand it's not a Vegas experience. It's just a casino gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's been in Caesar's Palace, and we've stayed at Planet Hollywood and all those other places, which were more lively, I guess, and more people.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess a young person would get much out of the Orleans.
No, the Orleans or, Circus. He was like, okay. Yeah, so anyway, that was the deal. I like the game.
Okay, let's see if it sticks. We'll see at Rio.
It'd be nice if it went to other places.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
They could come up with some generic thing like, the Three Stooges or something.
Just take Penn and Teller's name off it or something.
Yeah, just take
That's
Penn
true.
and Teller's name.
Yeah, you can bet, or Pep Boys. You can bet on
Pep
Manny, Mo, or
Boys.
Jack.
Right. Or it could just be, Three Little Pigs.
Yes, Dr. Mike.
I got all kinds of groups of 3.
I'll put you in touch with Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, we got a message from listener Jesse on X, formerly known as Twitter. He let us know that Plaza is now offering free buy bets on the 4 and 10 for $20 or more. And he even,
Nice.
sent me the little advertisement for it. This is something Downtown Grand did for a while. And it's always nice when a casino takes, it says free. Doesn't say, you have to pay the VIG after a win. Completely free. So no house edge on that.
That's worth going there just betting 4 and 10 for a quarter.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah. Might not get rated.
No,
but
probably not.
You get a fair shake. Well, we got an email from listener Philip. Dr. Mike, Philip says, when I choose a numbered locker at the gym, I gravitate towards good dice outcomes. Hard ways like 3-3, 4-4, and avoid lockers that 7 out. Do you find dice outcomes influence your choices in real life? What do you think, Dr. Mike?
Oh, I never thought about that, but not for me, I don't think.
Okay. I think I do without maybe thinking too much about it.
Yeah, maybe.
And I may gravitate towards a 7, actually. 3-4.
Yeah.
6-1. I think what I really do is I find numbers like that correspond to blackjack hands more in real life.
Right.
Like, if I see
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, something like that. Right. Oh, there's 21. Oh, good. I'm standing. I've got 19.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet a lot of times it happens and I don't really consciously think about it. But in the back of my mind, maybe I'm adding numbers up to figure out, how would I do if I were playing blackjack? How would I do if I were playing baccarat? How would I do if I'm playing craps?
Well, and everybody has some number they think is lucky for them,
Sure.
A 6 or an 8 or a 12 or, I always bet a 5 because I think 32 is my lucky number, something like that. I don't know. I mean, I haven't honestly noticed that, but I'll try and.
You're going to notice it now, and you're going to find out that it happens all the time.
Now, I do know that in my 7th grade life science class this last week, I was teaching very basic genetics. They were doing Punnett squares, and I said, well, you have to know a little bit about probability when you answer this. Like, if 1 out of 4 is going to be, what's the probability? Well, it's 25% or 3 out of 4. And then they got a question on their workbook that had something to do with rolling dice and how often a 7 would come up. So, they're 7th graders. They're all trying to figure it out in their head. And I said, well, let's do it on the board. So I listed all the possible combinations and everything. And how many ways are there to make a 3? How many ways to make an 11? At the end, they all kind of, okay, I see 7 comes up the most. And 6 is the same as 8. And 3 and 11 are the same. They were kind of getting it. And I said, good. Now, tomorrow, we're going to go over, some strategies for craps. They all looked at me. Well, nobody in the room, not one of them. And this is the problem with youth in America, Mark. Not one of them knew what craps was.
Oh, gosh. Is the game dying because 7th graders haven't even heard of the game?
Yeah. I mean, they all know blackjack.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't learn craps till I was like 19, 20 years old. I knew blackjack way before then.
But you knew it was a dice game, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'd heard of it. You're right. Of course I'd heard of it.
Right. They hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah. That's bad. It's that social media.
Yeah. Get off social media and get on a craps table. Your life will be so much better.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. That's youcanbetonThat.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right. It is voicemail time for real now. Let's hear from Jake.
Hey guys, my name is Jake. I'm based out of San Diego, California. A buddy of mine recently told me to check your guys' podcast out since he's also a gambler, and I started checking you guys out about a week ago. Love the podcast, been trying to catch up with all the episodes. So my question is, since you guys are also aware of the gambling scene in San Diego, what would be the best property to gamble? In the past 2 years, been going more frequently to Las Vegas. I've been a Caesars Rewards member there. However, I've never checked out the Harrah's here in Southern California. I've always been loyal to Saquon since they always used to offer great comps, just great service overall. The resort, the floor itself, the dealers, the pit bosses, even the hosts are top quality. But I've noticed that lately their comps and values have really gone down drastically. I'm not a whale, as you would call it, of a gambler. I usually am gambling and betting anywhere at the tables that are $25 to $50 bets, even if it's craps or blackjack, even a little bit of baccarat. So my question is, which property in San Diego or the surrounding areas do you guys think is the best? And if the Harrah's, if it's worth it to check out. It is a little bit far. It's about 50 minutes from my house. I live in southern San Diego. Sequan is about 25 to 30 minutes away from me. So yeah, love the podcast. Keep up the good work, and hopefully my call would get answered. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jake. I'm going to answer Mike, and then you chime in and see what I think.
Mark,
okay.
You answer it because you're more familiar with current. It changes over time, right?
Yeah. I would say if you're looking for comps and rewards and free rooms and a tie-in to properties other than those in San Diego, aka Las Vegas and beyond, I would still recommend Harrah's, even though we have complained that their offers have gone down quite a bit, and they have. They still offer the best as far as free play and comps go, as far as I'm concerned. It is a little bit of a further drive, so that's why I haven't been in a while. But if that's your concern, comps, Players Club, then I would say Harrah's. If you're looking for the best gamble, that would be the casino with the best rules. I would say Barona. They've got full pay video poker. They have, I think it's 10 times odds on craps. I believe all their blackjack tables are 3-2. It's the location of the Blackjack Hall of Fame, so they kind of want to keep the blackjack reputation good. Again, just for gambling, I would say Barona. For a resort, for staying there with a significant other, then I would say Sequan. I think they have the best accommodations, restaurants, rooms, that kind of thing. So depending on what you want, those are my three answers.
Yeah, I would agree with you on my past experiences all those years in San Diego. That is correct. I think that here is probably going to still offer you a little more, and you can use reward points you earn there in Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, Barona has good rolls, and it's a nice casino too. And Sequan is a very nice casino. A lot of amenities and stuff, and the rolls aren't bad there either.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. All right, we're going to hear from Jake later on in the show as well. Meanwhile, let's hear from Rev Dan.
Hey guys, it's Rev Dan from Tulsa. I wanted to check in and share a quick trip report and also a funny story and get a little bit of advice from you guys. So I had the opportunity to take my oldest daughter to New Orleans a couple of weeks ago on a daddy-daughter trip, and we just had a great time. It's a great city. The hotel we stayed at just happened to be a very short walk down to the Caesars property. And so one afternoon when we decided to take a few hour break before dinner, I snuck over to the casino. And I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like I have heard trip reports on this show in the past that spoke very poorly of this property, that it was dirty and gross and outdated. And maybe it has been updated. I don't know. Maybe you could shine some light on that. But it was very clean. It was smokeless, which was a huge plus. Tons of table game options. It was a very nice casino. Now, all I played was craps, but I did do just a quick walk around, and I was impressed. It's a place I would go back to. The craps dealers were okay, but they weren't very pleasant people. And the craps was terrible. I couldn't hit anything. It was $25 minimum. You did have to pay the vig up front, which was a bummer. In my quick walk around, looked like blackjack was $25 minimum as well, 6 to 5. So not great odds, but overall felt like a very nice casino and a great location. If you're wanting a getaway to do more than just gambling, I feel like it would be a great place to stay because you're close to everything in the French Quarter, but then you'd have the casino at night or when you wanted to play. So I would love to get back sometime and actually stay there. A quick funny story. My daughter had a playoff basketball game last night, and we knew that they would probably lose. They were playing the number one team, the undefeated team, and they had a great game. They played them down to the wire. They lost at the end. And when we walked into the house, she immediately said to her little brother, "I'm not paying you $10. And my wife and I were like, what are you talking about? And my son said, well, we had a bet. I bet her $10 that they were going to lose. And my wife immediately got upset with them for betting. And I couldn't decide whether I should be upset or proud, because I asked my son later, I said, why did you do that? And he said, well, Dad, it just seemed like a smart bet. I knew they were going to lose, and it seemed like an easy $10. And so, guys, I need your help. I'm not sure whether I need to punish him for betting against his sister and betting that they would lose, or should I actually commend him for making what, honestly, guys, was a pretty smart bet. All right, let me know what you think.
All right, Dan, look, I'm not concerned about your son here.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about your daughter not paying on an agreed upon wager.
Well,
that's
now,
the real
he didn't
problem.
say it was agreed upon.
Well, it sure seems like it was.
You know, they're kids, and he didn't say their ages, but you know, a lot of times, I'll bet you $10 you don't win, and the other person never says they're going to bet, but then afterwards, the other kid wants to collect.
Yeah, but according to this story, the daughter just comes in and says, I'm not paying you $10. Now, who knows the actual interaction here? Dan's just telling an amusing story. But it seems to me like they did agree upon this bet. And the first thing that came out of her mouth when she got home is, I'm not paying.
Not paying up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
and that's when her little brother has to, get some strong arm help.
Yeah, strong arm help.
Make her pay up.
Yeah. Dad, here's what I need from you before
I
you...
would encourage your son that he's making wise choices. And Mark, you'll bet against your favorite team or something if you think that that's the best way to go.
Absolutely.
Or you won't bet on them.
Or I won't.
Because you just don't.
Absolutely. But I don't think I'll make a bet with any of my relatives saying, I think you're going to lose.
You're no good. You're going to lose.
I will admit that that's a little over the line. Yes, I like to think of myself as a critical thinker and very rational, but I also think my family's more important to me than that, and I don't think I would have made the bet. So, Dan, I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide what kind of punishment your daughter gets, if any, and there probably should be none, because she lost the basketball game. She's feeling bad enough as it is. As for your son saying, "Hey, great job! You found a virtual sure thing and you bet on it." I don't know. Maybe hold off for a few years. Hey, remember when you bet against your sister? I couldn't say anything at the time, but I wanted to tell you how impressed I was.
Maybe, when you go on a dad-son trip, you're fishing somewhere alone, you just, don't tell your mom and sister, but I really was proud of you when you bet on a sure bet. And I can't do that because I'm a dad. I got to root for my children.
That's right. Dan was talking about Caesars New Orleans. I know we have gotten some kind of unfavorable reviews here on the show of that property, and I'm trying to remember some of the specifics. Dan said that it was clean and nice and everything, but then he also said that the craps crew was unpleasant. That's enough for me to not want to go there. We've talked about how the crew is the most important thing. Now, we're focusing in on craps and a craps crew. That's you and me, Dr. Mike. This might be a perfectly fine and even wonderful place for non-craps players. But that might have been...
he just got a bad crew.
Oh, and very much so, too. Yeah.
Yeah. People have bad days. I mean, maybe they were all upset because the boss changed their break schedule or something that day.
Yeah, you
just never know. But if you go there 2 or 3 times and it's always the same, then it's like, okay, not going back there.
Yeah. All right. Well, on our last episode, listener Ariel was talking about how he went on a cruise and even got a lot of free play to play in the casino there. And we were wondering how he got the cruise to begin with. We were speculating that maybe it came through a partnering casino, because we see that all the time where casinos are giving away cruises. And we were also wondering about how his free play was distributed. Anyway, he called back with a follow-up.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, just heard the show. So I just wanted to clarify some of the things. I called the cruise line, Carnival, and it turns out I went there and cruised with them before, and I gambled a lot before. And so they gave me a promotion because of my play previously. That's why they gave me the 500 and then the extra 500 play. Plus, it came with a juice drink package, and they also came with money to use for excursions or money to use anywhere on the boat. So that was pretty cool. they did give me the option to choose the denomination, right? So I could do $5 if I wanted all of it. But what I found interesting too is like, so I bet the $25 chip, and the max bet that I could put was 20, and they gave me change that was also like a promo chip. Anyways, just wanted to clarify that it was a promotion that they gave me because I called the cruise line, and that wasn't anything special about like a cruise. The craps table was open like around 10 or 11 a.m. all the way to when they close, depending on when you dock. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
I like that they make change of
Yeah.
the free play chips.
Yeah. Now, some casinos do. I'm thinking of Hamul, close to us, where I've been on a table and all I have is a $25 chip and I want to make like a $15 bet. And if they have $5 free play chips there, because sometimes they don't always.
Yeah.
But if they have them there, maybe somebody else has come and played with them. Yeah, they'll make change for you. That is nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Because a lot of places, you know, you go to get the promo and they want to give you 100 or they want to give you large denominations. So you can't break them up and you just have to bet the whole thing.
Right.
So
yep.
You're on a $10 craps table and they give you $100 chip.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, I guess you could use it for odds maybe if they have 10 times odds or something.
Yep.
But, you know, it's kind of hard, right? And a lot of people, just throw it in the field, see what happens.
Yeah.
It's nice when you break it up because then it's actually like, you know, real money.
Yeah, you can play for a while. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's nice to know that if they see someone who did gamble a lot on a cruise, they're going to give you a lot of promos to get you back.
Yeah.
That's a win-win, really, because, you know, he'd probably go anyway because he likes gambling and he obviously likes the cruise. This way, they're going to kind of almost guarantee he'll be doing a lot of them.
Yeah.
And good for them, good for him, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for the follow-up, Ariel. All right, next call.
Hey, guys. Juice here from Gambling with Good Juju with a quick trip report from Hard Rock Rockford. Now, this is a brand new casino and overall very nice. Craps crew was fantastic. They had the all tall small bonus. Go with the 150 payout. Didn't matter. We weren't close. Still, great energy at the table, even at noon on a Friday. Roulette, they had 000. Now, come on. It's the Midwest, not the Strip. This felt like blatant price gouging. Speaking of roulette, first time for me, I saw a solo player bubble roulette for the first time. The board spun vertically instead of horizontally. Not saying I think it's rigged, but if I were going to rig an electronic roulette game, this would be the one. We did try some hunting for advantage slots, but with us not being too hip to this, nothing seemed right. We did spot a few games that made the list thanks to our buddy Andrew, your buddy as well, but no luck. They did have a Wonka-style candy bar promo. Top prize was $10,000 in cash. We didn't win, but we did get 6 candy bars, which then melted all over the car on our way to the next casino. Hope to hit the dice tip with you guys soon, and as always, good juju to your week. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Juice. And be sure to check out the Good Juju podcast. Oh, good. Yeah. Rockford, Illinois, kind of up around where my wife's from and where we got married. So,
yeah.
Thanks for the report.
Yeah. I like that he won candy bars. Now, I'm all for that. That seems to me like a nice win. Now, having them melt in the car,
You think that's not quite as good as getting the candy bars?
If they were still in the wrapper, you can take them in the house.
Yeah, maybe put them in the freezer. They'll be all misshapen. They probably
they'll be misshapen. Yeah. It tastes a little different.
A little different. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it gets mixed up. The chemistry doesn't work out so well.
Yeah, maybe dip it in some peanut butter. Instead of just eating it straight, that might help a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say what candy bars they are.
No, he didn't. It would depend.
They might have been Three Musketeers.
Yeah, and that might not. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't mind dipping a Three Musketeers in some peanut butter, I guess, if it were frozen. I'm going to think about this. I'm going to give this a good think.
Yeah. It's important that we focus on the important stuff in life.
Yeah. And chocolate is way up there.
It's pretty high up there, yeah.
All right, let's hear from Jake again.
What's up, guys? My name is Jake from San Diego. I want to say, just to blow a little bit about my recent trip to Vegas. I was just there 2 weeks ago. I went with my girlfriend. It was her first time ever going to Vegas. It was a good time. We usually stay at Caesars Properties. This time we stayed at Paris. I booked the basic Bordeaux room. Ended up getting upgraded to a suite, believe it or not, just doing the good old What used to be the $20 tip between the cards, now I did 40, got a nice little upgrade. We ended up going to downtown Fremont. My girlfriend wasn't a big fan. I think she got a little bit overwhelmed, but I tried to play a little bit of craps there at Golden Gate, which I think is the best scene for craps in Fremont. Got into a table, bought in for around $300. I did the 270 across. It went out within one roll, so we ended up going to the M, believe it or not, and when we got to the M, I saw this table. It was very hot, a bunch of people around it, kind of what you see in the movies, just an insane amount of people around it, but I ended up being able to squeeze in and to play, and this lady grabs the dice. She shoots, I think the point was 10. I have never in my life been on such a hot table before. I think she was throwing for, I want to say, nearly 2 hours.
Oh,
she would hit her number and she would just keep on going. She was hot. She never threw a 7. I bought in for about $500, and I think I ended up leaving with around $8,000. It was the most amazing session I've ever had playing craps, and that was just our first night there. So I want to say I took a free trip to Vegas. Everything was covered thanks to that lady and how hot she was on the dice, of course. So I want to say thank you guys for the show. Great show. I love listening to it when I'm driving here in San Diego, and hopefully it gets played on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, and he said he came in the middle of a roll, right? He already said, I mean, it was probably going fairly slowly, but still 2 hours.
Yeah, that is an unbelievable. 2 hours, even in a slow game, is going to be a big, big roll.
Yep.
He didn't end up saying how his girlfriend, who first time in Vegas, felt about it.
Didn't like Fremont. And I can understand that.
I can understand that. But how'd she feel about, the Strip and M and places like that? I was just wondering. Because, that's going to be your gauge whether this is going to go anywhere or not.
Yeah. Well, Jake, let us know.
Yeah. And he said, and she loved it. And she said, we should do this a lot. Then, marry her. Yeah. By all means, right?
All right. Next call is from listener Kevin. The sound dropped out several times during the call. I couldn't really tell why. It didn't sound like cell service anyway, I had to do some creative editing. So, Kevin, if your call sounds a little different or maybe there's some things missing, that's why. But anyway, here's Kevin.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Kevin from Austin, Texas, calling in with a trip report on the new Louisiana Live Casino in Shreveport, Louisiana. For those not familiar with the area, Shreveport previously had 5 permanently anchored riverboat casinos. In addition to serving the local market, it primarily attracts players from the Dallas-Fort Worth and East Texas regions. In fact, about 75% of the license plates in the parking garages say Texas, not Louisiana. From an aesthetic standpoint, it is probably one of the least attractive casino destinations in the country. Perhaps not as bad as the off-the-boardwalk in Atlantic City, but an economically depressed area for sure. However, from a craps standpoint, it is actually one of the best destinations in the country. For example, during the day, Monday through Friday, the Caesars Horseshoe offers $5 minimums with 100 times odds, which is fantastic. As a note, the fact that a new property was built from scratch in this region certainly suggests that the industry feels that casino gambling being legalized in Texas anytime soon is a long shot, to say the least. Louisiana Live property, it opened in mid-February, so it has been open less than 1 month. The first thing I noticed was how exceptionally clean and well-staffed it was. Just about everywhere I looked, something was being cleaned. It reminded me of Disney World in that regard. Secondly, despite smoking being allowed, it was not smoky at all due to the obvious heavy ventilation being applied. From a craps standpoint, they had 4 traditional tables, $10 to $15 minimums during the day, $25 minimums at night with 100 times odds. Noticeably absent was not only a crapless table, but also any bonus side bets, such as the ATS. I spoke with a pit boss about this, and he noted that the table games director wanted to have 3 rolls per minute, and booking and rebooking the ATS simply slows down the game too much. That is, while having the ATS would raise the hold percentage on the game, they feel that their overall revenue is higher by not having it. Overall, it's by far the nicest property in the region, although it's an easy compare, as many of the competing properties haven't seen renovation or investment in decades. In addition, they inherently attracted the best, most experienced dealers in town. Love the show, and thanks for all that you do.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, I don't see either one of us going to Shreveport anytime soon. If we lived closer, then we definitely would.
Yeah,
but it is nice to hear that they're getting a nice, new, clean casino.
Yeah, good. And I agree with him. Shreveport's a little depressed economically, too. So,
All right. Next up is Ilko.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. I'm curious about any embarrassing moments you have experienced or witnessed at the craps table. One time I was at Pechanga and there was this first-time shooter on my right. After a few numbers, I obviously got more aggressive in my pressing and he kept rolling lots of numbers. I ended up with 10 times my initial buy-in when he 7 out. Already being late, I picked up all my chips between my thumbs and index fingers, and while putting it down, one of the stacks scattered all over the table. And obviously, it was a table full of chips at that point, so everybody had to wait for the eye in the sky to figure out which chips were mine and which ones were lost bets. Hey, I won, so I didn't feel that bad, but it was still pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, and you were still late, right, Ilko? So, it made it even worse. Yeah. I can't think of anything that embarrassing. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've spilled a drink or anything like that. A more recent thing, I remember getting into an argument with a dealer at Bellagio on what he had paid for my odds. I had 100 back there on a 5, and he only gave me 120 for the odds, and I kept arguing
thinking
with him.
It was a 6 or an 8. Yeah,
and actually it was a 6. I had the wrong point in my head that it was a 5, so I only put 100 out there. So what? No, the point was 6. I think even you really let me have it because here I was trying to argue it. No, he paid you right, Mark. You just didn't bet the odds amount that you thought you did. So, Mike, I know you've spilled your chips before doing something similar, trying to keep them all in your hand. What's the most embarrassing that's happened?
Not to the point where they had to get the eye in the sky, though.
Yeah.
I've dropped some, but not that terrible. Well, Mark, you know me. We probably don't have time to list all the embarrassing stuff I've done.
Mm-hmm. Let me put it another way, Mike. Something that you did unintentionally that was embarrassing, because I know you do embarrassing things all the time, but it's usually intentional. Putting hot cocoa on your head, right? Running around the table with your hands in the air, things like that.
Yelling stupid stuff.
Yeah, but what about an unintentional embarrassment?
Well, I don't know, walking in the girls' bathroom, I guess.
Okay, sure. We've probably all done that.
I think everybody's done that.
That's right.
Even the girls. Yeah, I don't know, Mark. Think about it. You've been with me a lot.
I know, and I'm trying to think too. All I can think of is spilling your chips, especially when I'm warning everybody. He's going to spill those. He's running out of room on his arm there. He's going to spill them. And then when you do, I act all upset, but inside I'm grinning, thinking, yes.
I can tell you my most embarrassing moment, not casino related.
Oh, God. Do we want to hear this?
It's not bad.
All right, go ahead.
But it was embarrassing to me. When we worked at Farrell's, Mark, they used to, at the end of the night, go across the street to the bank and make a night deposit, all the money, right?
Right.
And so whoever was managing or whatever, they don't want to go alone.
Yeah.
Crossing the street with, thousands of dollars. And so they would take a group of people, right? So there'd be 4 or 5 of us going. And this one time there was 3 or 4 of us going, and we had this thing on the way from the Farrells to the bank.
Yeah.
There was this stop sign.
I know where this is going.
And it was kind of low. So this was after a day shift, and I can't remember why, but the night guy wasn't going to be able to do it or something. So they were going to deposit. It was still daylight. So we're walking over there. And, like usual, one of us will jump up and slap the stop sign with our hand and make this huge loud noise and everything, and then bend over like we hit ourselves in the head.
Yeah, so somebody ahead of you would turn around. All they do is they hear the sound, and then they see you grabbing your head. Like, oh my God, yeah, and it's really loud.
Yeah, it's really loud. And I remember, so we're walking over there, and I'm the guy. I jump up and I hit the thing. I grab my head. And without even realizing, it's this elderly lady. I mean, she had to be like in her mid to late 80s. And oh my God, oh honey, are you okay? And she's, just spreading over me. And I'm like, do I move my hand from my head so she can see nothing is wrong? Or do I just say, what, keep my hand covered there? So I was so embarrassed. I felt so
What
bad.
did you do?
I kind of sheepishly removed my hand and, said something like, oh, I'm so sorry. We were just goofing around.
Oh, so you came. You didn't say like, oh, I'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I should have. I felt terrible. And she just looked at me.
You're an awful young man.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm like, oh, God. That was embarrassing. I didn't even know her, but it was just embarrassing.
No, of course, you didn't see her there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I still do it. My family loves it.
When you hit a sign.
They're just tickled pink.
Well, you know me, I like to embarrass people and stuff. Remember, the funniest thing, Dave DeLeon always used to get me. We'd stand out in front of Farrell's, and there's all these young teenage girls going to movies there.
Yeah.
They'd walk by, and I would have like a red vest on or something at work, and he'd say something, hey, baby, you like my red vest? And they'd all turn around and look right at you.
Yeah, you, because he didn't have a red vest on. No, you had the red vest on, yeah.
And I fell for that every time, and they look at me like, what a creep.
Those were the days, Dr. Mike.
Those were the days. Unfortunately, I still kind of act the same.
Yeah, you haven't changed.
No.
I
haven't changed.
All right, last call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, love the show. This is Brian from Arizona. I just wanted to follow up on the discussion you had about the Palms the other day. I was in Vegas about 2.5 weeks ago, and we headed over there. So not only did they have $5 blackjack, all of the blackjack there was 3-2, but they also had $5 craps. And the live craps table was extremely busy, but they did have a roll to win table. We actually postponed playing that at first because, as Dr. Mike might like, the guy that was at the table was leaning over and we could see half his crack. So we decided to wait. We actually went back later and played it, and they had a really great session there. Good dealer. I think his name was Kelvin. He was actually calling out the numbers. We tipped him. He was yelling thank you every time we did it. Actually made it a decent experience other than most of the time you play roll to win, and the dealers are like machines. But it's actually a pretty good experience. Nice casino, liked it. Also did play some blackjack and probably played with a guy who might have been the worst player I've ever been with. The book was nearly but it suggested to him, and I would say he played by feels other than anything else. But anyways, yeah, I was there 2.5 weeks ago. Liked it. I would definitely go back next time I'm in town for a low limit and good odds. So enjoy the show. Thank you much. Bye.
All right. Good report on Palms. I wonder how well they are doing with Southern California visitors, because it's owned by the San Manuel tribe,
right,
who also own Yamava Casino down here in Southern California. And there's a lot of cross promotion. So I wonder if they're getting a lot of their Southern California players to come over there.
I would imagine.
I would think so,
It's not that far from Yamaha to Vegas.
4.5 hours, maybe even 4 hours from there, depending on.
No, it's closer than San Diego.
Oh, it's certainly closer than San Diego. But, I'm thinking with traffic and everything.
San Diego to Vegas is 4.5.
Yeah.
Without traffic, I bet you could probably get there in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, it could be. Yamava Casino, Dr. Mike, not Yamaha.
Yamava.
There you go.
Yamava. I was laughing. Showing your crack at a casino is, either go full Monte or don't go at all.
Yeah.
Keep your pants up.
Yeah.
He also was talking about the worst player he'd ever played with. And I forgot to mention when we were at Mystic Lake, after Todd left and the girls played for a while and then they wanted to go play some more slots. So I said, well, I'm just going to sit here, play blackjack. Come and get me when you're ready to go. I was doing okay. I was actually ahead. This guy came up and they were speaking a foreign language, and I don't know which one. He bought in for like $500 and he sat down at third base. And I thought, it's a $15 table. He's buying in for $500. So, he must know how to play. And the first couple hands he did right. And then, oh my God, Mark, after that, he was doing some of the weirdest stuff. Very bad mistakes that even a beginning player wouldn't make. And I don't know if he was superstitious or he just really didn't understand it. Maybe, I don't know. But I had to get up and leave.
It's driving you crazy.
I did. Yeah. And then the girls came over there looking for me, and I was sitting at some slot machine somewhere. And well, you said you were going to stay there. I said, well, I was, but he was draining me. I mean, he took the dealer bus cart so many times when he didn't have to hit. And his wife was giving him a hard time about losing. I'm like, well, you got to be a little better than that. Yeah, I can see how that gets a little frustrating.
Yeah. We've talked about it. It doesn't matter. From a rational point of view, but emotionally it can really drain you.
Yeah, I was getting emotionally drained because I didn't want to interrupt because I didn't even know what language you're speaking.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, will he understand me?
Well, and you don't want to give unsolicited advice, even if they're playing wrong. Yeah.
And I can't stand the way he was playing, so I just had to get up and leave. And that'd be like you when somebody starts an argument with the dealers. You just color up and leave.
Yeah.
Why torment yourself?
Right. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Kurt, from Nathan, from Brian Dancer, and we also got a new recurring donation from Grant Thayer, board member of the National Association of Casino Party Operators, otherwise known as NACPO. He says, Matt Dercole, current NACPO vice president, and I wanted to thank you for all the entertainment, and we've initiated a monthly donation to You Can Bet on That on behalf of NACPO, hoping we get a chance to hear some of your casino party stories in person. Yeah, Grant had contacted us earlier. Again, it's the National Association of Casino Party Operators, and listening to some of our previous episodes, he knew that you and I, Dr. Mike, had been a part of a casino party company. We would deal casino parties. And so, I
met him at Diamond Joe Worth.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
When he was here and we talked about it.
He had invited us to their annual conference this year, but we're not able to make it. So maybe next year. Yeah, it'd be fun to tell some stories, reminisce.
Yeah. Well, he had some interesting stories, things that we did. And that was a good way to make money for a college kid.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Something we love to do anyway. I even got a date once out of that, Mark.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, a girl that, I don't know, she was playing there and talked. And anyway, turned out she was a little odd.
Okay.
I got I think 2 dates with her.
Okay. Congratulations. Save it for the conference.
Save it for the conference. Yeah, she's probably sitting there. What do you mean I was weird?
And finally, we got a donation from listener Pat G. He says, Karma donation for upcoming AC trip during March Madness. Half for the podcast, half for Dr. Mike's school fund. Let's go, Lee Harvey. So good luck, Pat G.
Right.
I hope you have a great time during March Madness there.
Yeah. Good luck, Lee Harvey.
Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related TV shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. What do you got for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, we got March Madness about ready to start. And after we're done here, in about 2.5 hours, I'm going to be watching the UCSD Tritons play for their conference championship and guarantee their spot in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, man. UCSD.
UCSD, our alma mater.
Yeah, we talk about San Diego State all the time, but you and I, we went to UCSD.
They didn't have a real team when we went there.
Yeah, they had a team, but it wasn't a real team, yeah.
Well, it was like Division III.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't quite as exciting.
Yeah.
But now they have a really good team. I've watched 2 of their games this year. Unfortunately, it's late at night. They're starting at 8 o'clock their time, which is 10 here or 11 or something. But stayed up some late nights to watch their games. So I'm excited about that. And whenever it gets to the NCAA tournament, I'm excited because as soon as that's over, baseball starts.
Mm-hmm, right. In fact, baseball kind of starts a little bit before the finals.
Final game. I've been getting a little jittery every day just thinking about how I'm going to be spending every night watching the Padres and how I noticed that they're predicted to win it all. This is our year. Isn't that what the coach said?
Sure.
On X, didn't he say something to you about that?
To me? Our listener coach.
Yeah.
Coach. Oh, yes, he did. Thank you, Coach Matt.
Said that this is their year.
I hope he's right, yeah.
Yeah, we know he's not. They could win 98% of their games, Coach, and they'll lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just to spite me.
Yep.
You know what, Mark? I'm going to announce this right now, but I don't think we're going to make it to Harris Cherokee this summer.
Oh, man. All right.
Len has other plans.
All right.
But, I mean, maybe later in the fall, like maybe September or something.
Well, we're going to Blackhawk in September.
Yeah.
So. All right. I understand.
That's one of those places, too, I'd like to go in the summer because, it's prettier and hiking and stuff. In the winter, it'd be just to stay in the casino mostly.
All right. Well, sorry to end the episode on that downer, but enjoy the tournament, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Anyway, I'm counting on you guys now to take it easy on Jerry. Be nice. Maybe let him win a few hands.
Don't worry, honey. We will.
Will we?
Are you nuts? This is poker.